Screencast 16. Dynamically setting query ranges at runtime. In the last screencast, I started a new report, and it was a simple one. It's just showing the cust table, and I added a parameter, right? And this cust group parameter came because it was a range on that query. Now, we want to dynamically set the range. How do we do that? Let's get rid first of the data set we have. But before I do that, I need to add a new one, right? I'm going to get the same query, create a data method, view code, then rename this, get cust table SRS. Okay. System.data.data table. And we will just say first var dt equals Microsoft.dynamics.framework.reports.ax query .execute query select star from cust table SRS, return that data table. We'll build. Okay, everything's built. Now let's just replace that. So I'll get rid of this one. I don't want it around anymore. And by the way, notice when I deleted that data set, that parameter is still there, right? And it's not hooked up to anything, but it still is in the report. I'll get rid of it in a moment. Let's create a new data set. We'll call it cust2. And we'll change data source type from query to business logic. And we'll change from query. We'll select get cust table SRS. Okay, let me remove this. Actually, let's run the report. Notice there's some errors here. And why is that? This is a common thing I wanted to show you. If you delete a data set, if you still have a data region that is bound to it, you'll get that error. It's complaining here. It says cust table undefined data set, right? This thing's referring to something that doesn't exist. So I'll remove it, and I'll just drag the data set back into that design, this new one. Now let's try previewing. See? And its only complaint is we don't have the style template set up. Okay, so the difference here is this is being run from the data method. Okay? And I still have this parameter which isn't being used, so I'll just get rid of it. And I shouldn't need to build. I'll just preview again, and see the parameter is gone. Now what we want to do is again set the range on the query. So let's do it statically first. Var ranges equals new dictionary string object. And remember, it's cust table dot cust group. And I'll set this one to 20. And then I'll add the range to the API. Oops, ranges. Build. Now we should only see those with cust group 20. And in fact, that's exactly what happened, right? There are only 20s in there. Now the question is, okay, fine that this code always gets 20, but I want to parameterize it, right? I want to be able to control it. I'm going to add my own parameter. So we're going to have an input. I'll say, I won't hook it up yet. I'll just call it cust group like this, all lowercase, int cust group. Let me go build this. So build succeeded, nothing wrong. Let's go ahead and preview and see what happens. You see there's actually an error here, parameter count mismatch. Kind of an odd error. And what that means is this data method, you can see there's a parameter there now, cust group. It's expecting to be given an integer, and yet when we run the report, it's not being given that integer, and that's the mismatch. We'll right-click here, and we'll go refresh on the data set, and you'll see it picked it up now. It's like, hey, here is a parameter for that data method. This isn't a report parameter. This is a parameter on a data method. So let's go ahead and just type in a value. It doesn't matter. We'll say 30, not 32. Let's do 90, since it's obvious. There's only one record with that. Notice what happened. When I refresh that, it found that parameter and it added it here, cust2 underscore cust group. Let's go ahead and run it. See, cust group, go to report. It still says 20 here, right? Why is that? Right? It says 0 here, that didn't control it, right? And the reason is simple. We haven't actually hooked it up yet. See, this 20 is still in there. So we need to just use this value, cust group, in here. And remember, I typed in 90. Actually, I just want to show you what happens with the refresh again, because it only picked up changes. I can't get back there. We'll type in 90 here and go ahead and preview the report, right? And why didn't it pick it up? Can anyone guess? That's because I didn't build the solution. You always got to build when you make a change to data methods. Otherwise, the code is not redeployed. Go back to the report. 0. There we go. 0 got nothing. 90 will get 1 record. See? And then if I type in 30, you'll get a different set. Okay? So you see now how we've taken a parameter. We've defined our own parameter to dynamically affect the range of this query. We've done this all programmatically. And this is, again, how internally the framework works. Right? We create parameters and we pass them in exactly in this fashion. Right? So now you've seen that, and you've also seen what happens when you go back to the report. How to define these parameters on the data methods, which are then used as parameters on the report. Right? And you saw what happens when you add one of these things. These data sets expect you to enter a value for that parameter at first. And just to show you that again, I'm going to create a new data set. Right? I'll just leave that data set 1 and we'll select business logic and then the data method, and you'll see, because this time the parameters already define the data method, you'll get this parameters dialog again. Right? And this value, the reason it's only used on the first time when you add a data set. It's not used every time. That's why we didn't see it as a default value. Okay, so I'll just cancel out of that. Oops. And remove this. So now you've seen how to control query execution dynamically using input given at runtime by the user. Thanks for your time.